Welcome to Pumelela with Purpose. Our topic for today is when you become the title. And this means that when you have a title, you stop being who you are and you become the title of what you do. So that is what we are going to be exploring today, because all of us have lived it, but it's something that we really talk about. It just becomes a lived experience. And to make the conversation, today's conversations really more vibrant and robust, is that I have a colleague, a friend, really someone that I really care about, who's also lived the experience, but now her special interest is really on transformation, diversity and inclusion, and equity. And Zoleka, my friend, we're going to have a very good conversation on this topic, because I think I've already said it. You've also lived the experience, and it really is what all of us have gone through. Welcome, and thank you for agreeing to be part of this conversation today.
Thank you so much, Pumelela. I feel so honored and I feel so grateful that I'm part of the Pumelela with Purpose, and that we are really chatting about the topic that we don't want to talk about, but we know about it, that when you become the title. So I love it so much. I think it's also closer to my heart. And I feel honored, truly speaking. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. Thank you so much for that. I've joined the Pumelela with Purpose. And then in your career as a human resource, or rather, let me say, people management leader with more than 30 years of experience, I know that you have lived, you have embodied what it means to become a title in your experience. I know that you were a good leader, and I know for a fact that you led with purpose because you have also developed people. When you talk about developing people, you've produced leaders. You've
Not sure
produced
about that
leaders.
one,
Yes,
but
no.
yeah.
You've produced leaders. You've produced. And I want to believe as well that you have really left an impact in the world of work. And I love the fact that we are really exploring the world of work instead of the workplace. Because in your introduction, you've really mentioned whether you are holding a title in your church, in your community, as a parent. That takes us beyond the workplace. I truly appreciate the term world of work. So, meaning that we are going beyond the workplace. So that whoever we are having an aunt that is sitting at the stand that is selling avocados, that parent is an entrepreneur, is a parent, and also is a provider as well, meaning that is holding a title, meaning that our conversation is not only meant for those that are in the economics. Like we talk about informal, we talk about formal economy. So it's not only focusing on formal economy, but we touch also on the informal economy, because it touches everyone. Thank you so much for that one. So our conversation for today, we have segmented it into parts. So our first part is going to be really about the beginning. And we know for a fact that there's nothing without the beginning. In as much I always say to others, there's no one that is born as an expert, meaning that there should be a starting point.
Yeah.
So I want us to get to the starting point. How do you also become the title? And we'll also explore some challenges, some tensions that we have experienced along the way. So let's talk about our beginning now, where everything started. When you first started your career, what title did you hold? And what did it mean to you?
Oh my goodness, why are you going to take me that far back? Yeah, I think it started really when I became a supervisor. A supervisor in the sense of having someone reporting to you.
Yes.
I think then that was after I had become a trainee and just an employee, and then that was in the Eastern Cape. And then started to have someone reporting to me.
Yes.
And then that's when really the title, because as much as it wasn't called a supervisor, when someone says to you, you have people reporting to you, then you know that you are in a supervisory environment,
Level.
supervisory level.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's really when it started, because it started by having someone being responsible for someone's output, responsible for the functional output. It's also meant being having the manager then of the function asking you questions about the output of that particular. I mean, it was small.
Yes.
In the education and training environment, it was very small, but you knew that you were responsible.
Yes, your
And then even the person
responsibilities
having to come to you and say, "Can I take leave? Can I do this? What about this? What about that?
Or is this fine?
Is
Have I
this fine?"
produced what you were looking
Absolutely.
for?
Yes,
Yes.
So
yes.
that's really when the title starts, coming.
Now, I'm taken aback as well, Pumelela, thinking when I was an inspector, I was just a mere junior inspector, not having any experience in terms of how to lead other colleagues, for example. And then I really jumped so many levels from being a mere inspector, junior inspector, to becoming an assistant director. And for me, and then I'm asking a question, were you ready for it? And then looking back, I'm like, I guess I was ready, but I thought at the time that I needed to push myself. I needed to self-develop myself so that I can match now those roles and responsibilities that now there were going to be some employees that were reporting to me. So how important is it when you are really developing yourself, let alone that the company itself has a responsibility of developing you, but it starts from you. How important is that?
I think it's very important, but it's not something that you think about then.
Yes.
Because the excitement is about you getting the title.
Exactly.
So the self-development, you kind of think it will come. But I think perhaps then what we should be thinking about now, and not just, especially in the workplace, is that when people start getting the titles, it should also go with the development.
Yes.
That matches
Very
the title,
important,
because then it creates a different dynamic.
Yes.
But when you just assume the title without the development, then it can become wobbly. Because you're not ready for it. So it's not something that I really thought about, because I was excited. Because the excitement it's not just about the title. You know what it means. As soon as there's just an elevation, it means just more money.
You also elevate as well.
Just more money. So the excitement starts growing from there. You don't think about self-development. But I think to be quite honest, is that organizations that do have recognized and continue to recognize that the development of people and leaders and within the titles needs to be supported.
Lovely.
And people need to be trained so that they become, when they get into the titles, when they hold the titles, they hold them responsibly and have good impact within the workplace. Yeah.
I hope that it does happen.
Yes, no. I think organizations have realized that, and I think they've always realized it, but I think it's really about the emphasis of really making sure that
it gets done. Because sometimes you do find that you get a position, you feel that I'm so comfortable such that I'm sitting on a sticky floor.
Yeah.
So how do we then ensure that, especially for women, that we are not left on the sticky floor, that we cannot elevate it to other levels? I think that is very important. That's very important.
I think the floor, the floors, because I'm sure there are various floors. I think that's a topic for
another day. How do we then
we're gonna get there.
Move, especially women, from the sticky floor. Thank you so much, because we are ever focusing on the glass ceiling and the glass cliff and all of these terms, but we don't talk about the sticky floor. I love that. We're gonna get to that. Yes. And then Pumelela, thank you so much. When did you realize that people were seeing you through your title?
Yes, I think as soon as you start, the questions come to you in terms of your function.
Yes.
Because then you start getting the questions. Then you say, like I said, you become accountable. And then it's not just people seeing you through the title, it's when you see yourself through the title. Because then the introduction is not about the work you do. You start saying, I am the manager. I'm Pumelela, and I'm the manager.
When you introduce yourself.
When you start introducing yourself, the manager. So, that's when it starts. And I think another part of it is that when you start getting the spot you get a spot at the table.
Yes.
You know, it's not going to be at the top of the table, but you sitting on the side, but you are at the table. That's when you start getting, now I'm being seen.
Where you are now saying, this is how I see myself, that I need to maintain some credibility.
Of course,
Oh,
yes, you start building the credibility, because
Lovely.
remember, when you get a spot at the table, it means that you are being seen, you are seeing yourself, and then you have to project that I deserve the spot. I am here. So you start seeing yourself differently as well.
Oh, lovely, lovely. That takes us to becoming the title now. At what point did you feel, I have truly become this title?
Yes.
Because you are now called a supervisor, you're called a manager, but now, how do you feel?
Yes. I think it goes back to what I've just said.
Yes.
You've got the spot
The
at the
spot
table.
at the table, yes.
You've got the spot at the table.
Yes.
You start behaving and performing.
Performance is very important,
Yes.
because now you are performing at a higher level.
Yes, you performing the title. So the accountability and the requirements of the title become more.
Yes.
It's about serious decisions. It's about you being accountable. It's also about the recognition that if you fail, what are the consequences of that? You know, how am I going to be seen? How do I then, you start feeling the anxiety of, I need to do this, I need to do this well, I need to do this. You start feeling the anxiety of the title and of the role and of being at the table.
Yes. Would you say that that was a moment of process or a series of experiences?
It's a process.
It's a process.
It is a process, and you slowly you get
As you
into
grow,
it. You don't even recognize it, because it's such a process. You know, like I said, it's excitement. It's about the spot at the table. It's about decision making. It's about being accountable. So all of this happens, you know, slowly until you're really consumed by the title.
Yeah. And what shaped you mostly in the professional life?
I think it's it's wanting to do well.
Yes.
It's wanting to make sure that you don't drop the ball. It's wanting to maintain what people perceive. So maintaining the perception that you really know how to do, to get this done. It's about not wanting to fail. Because then what happens when you're not cracking it?
Dropping the ball.
You know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Wow. This takes us to the challenges and growth. So we need to talk about challenges, and there are no two ways about it. So as you are growing, definitely there would be challenges. There will be obstacles sometimes. What were your biggest challenges in growing into your role?
I think the challenge of always having to question, the challenge of sometimes you do what is required, not necessarily what you believe in.
Wow.
Because remember, there's an expectation of doing this, but sometimes it becomes misaligned with what you really believe in. But you have to push through, because there's a consequence for not towing the line.
Truly.
Yeah, there's a consequence for that. So that becomes a challenge, is that how do I really do this most effectively, but still maintaining the essence of who you are? That's the challenge.
I guess that is not easy.
That
it cannot be easy, because you must remember, we all bring our own values, how we grew up, in as much as the organization will have its own organizational values that you must live up to.
Yes. And I mean, and I think, I mean, even outside the workplace, if you take being a parent, is that you grew up in a certain environment, you get your values from how you were brought up, but now as a parent, you have challenges of, this is what I grew up knowing, this is how it needs to be, but now the challenge is, how do I continue with some of those values and also, bring my own. Because you are shaped by all sorts of, the environment shapes you, your culture shapes you. So the challenges of, how do I really maintain the essence of who I am and still live the title
Yes. Wow.
without creating a big dissonance between the essence and what you know in the head, in the head
In the head.
of being the title. Yeah.
Did you ever experience self-doubt or maybe the imposter syndrome where you felt, was I lucky to get this position? Was it by luck, truly speaking? Can I really do this?
Of course.
And if maybe there were those thoughts, how did you overcome them?
I think you always do, because I think that conversation is not something that you talk about.
Yes.
It's something that you go through silently, because you don't want to project self-doubt, because you have the title, you earn the title because of your technical capabilities in many instances. But when you're sitting on it, you're like, I wonder if I really deserve this. I wonder if I should be doing this. And sometimes it's not, as much as it's self-doubt, sometimes the feedback you get is about, you don't belong here. How come you got it and not me? And I think, like I said, because not only just in the workplace, I think it doesn't matter where you hold the title, that people will give you feedback. So you get both positive feedback and feedback that is just not so nice. So you start thinking to yourself, I really want to do. But you really have to, if you want to continue in the trajectory, you really have to manage that and find mechanisms that are going to allow you to cope and be effective in the role, in the title that you hold.
I guess that's not easy, Pumelela.
No,
it's
not easy. It's a constant conversation in your head.
Yes. And you are doing it silently.
You're doing it silently.
Oh, lovely. Will it say maybe as you are growing into the role, I'm talking now maybe for another person that is really aspiring to be a leader, to be a manager, how important is it that there is somebody that is coaching you?
I think it's an aspect that we all need.
Yes.
And I think in many organizations, I'm talking literally in the workplace, is that people get coached.
Yes.
And I think the coaching happens mainly for managers and for leaders, because that the assumption is that those are the people that need coaching. Yes. But really, coaching needs to start with the young people that are getting into the workplace, who are aspiring to become that, so that by the time they get there, the challenges are not as great as they should be. Because you're entering into the workplace and you don't know who you are. You know that, especially if you're talking about young people now, they're saying this is where I'm going. So people need to be coached. And I think the earlier you get coaching of how to manage, of what you really do, because the titles are going to come.
Yes.
The titles are going to come. You might, like I said, remember I said I started as a trainee and then got into that. So that's exactly what happens in the workplace. So the issue is about saying, let's start coaching everyone. Of course, the coaching is going to be different. Let's start coaching everyone throughout the process, so that it becomes the part of who you are. Because some of the learnings that you're going to get are going to carry you right through. Because the coaching is about bringing out the best of you, both what the workplace or the organization requires, but also bringing yourself into it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I think this takes us to the end of part one. Remember, we said at the beginning, now we understand where you started your career as a trainee, supervisor, manager, and then you left employment as an executive. And then how do you then become the title? And then I guess we have also explored the series of, that is not a moment, but it's just an experience and series of experiences. And I love the fact that you have to own your seat at the table. Absolutely. And it comes with, I don't want to say stress. I don't know. Because we always say, I remember when I was just an inspector, Pumelela would be like, if I'm sitting in the meetings in the boardroom, dipendula kangemali ndipeyayo. And then we'll say that, as a manager, you're getting a higher salary. So why would I have to do your job or answer on your behalf and the likes? That's why we were ever saying that. So we were limiting ourselves as well. I don't think that was a good thing. So I love that you've gone through the challenges and you have overcome those challenges. And the fact that coaching is very important. And self-development as well is very important. So this takes us, Pum, to part 2 of our conversation. And then we need now to weigh the title, to check the tensions that come with the title.
I think when you are carrying the title, you are performing. Because you are performing a role.
Yes.
You are performing within the title. So you've gone from just being, I just clock in from 8 to 5. I just am a parent because I happen to have a responsibility as a parent because I have kids or I have people that that look up to me. You now have to perform, and it's a step up. You now have to perform because you want to become the best that you are. So it is, you require to perform at that role. And remember, when you have the title, there are expected behaviors.
Yes. Wow.
Let's just use an example of being a parent. If you were a I'm going to the club.
To the club,
I'm
coming
going
back
to
the next
club,
day.
and I'm going to
Yes.
come back. You can't do that as a parent
Exactly.
because your role as a parent
Yes.
in the title is that you are responsible, you are accountable, and you have to show up.
Yes.
So the performance is higher. If you are, like you think, that wonderful thing you brought up, you're a community leader.
Yes.
At home, you could be this, but when you show up at church and you are now the elder or this, you are performing and you have to live up to expectations because all titles are assigned have behaviors
Yes.
assigned to them.
Yes.
So you have to perform.
Wow.
But I think the issue of performance is also about saying it can't always be a performance because when you perform and not bring who you are, like we always call it the authentic self,
authentic self.
it just becomes a show,
Ubuwena,
and people will
yes.
see through. Will see through that,
it,
and
yes.
it is tiring as well because
You'll be acting.
you'll be acting.
You'll be acting.
So it becomes part of the performance. But when you're
Yes.
performing, you have to bring the essence of who you are.
Wow. Well, yeah, wow, that's powerful, Pumelela. Where are you most comfortable? Is it inside or outside the title?
It depends where you spend your life.
Yes.
I think for me, because as a professional, the tendency was to become more comfortable within the role. But what we forget is that because the role in many instances takes over who you are, you find yourself also becoming the role outside of the workplace.
Yes.
So you become because now you are a manager or you are this, you want to dictate. This is how things get done. You start living the role outside of the workplace.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember, if to give another example, outside of the workplace is that when you get home, you know that because you are this title,
yes.
which is very funny.
What is?
Even the ringtone, you have a ringtone for the boss. You have a ringtone for the boss.
Wow.
So you are at home, you are relaxing, and then the ringtone starts, and everyone at home is like, "That's your boss. Please answer the phone."
Wow.
So it's gone from the workplace. It's now coming into the outside space. You are now the role has taken over. So it becomes fluid, whether you are in or outside the role.
Exactly.
Yes. Not only that, the worst part of it is that as you grow into the title, outside of the workplace, you also, remember I said, it's recognition, it's reward.
Yes.
Now you see yourself going, now I'm this senior person. The status comes.
The status comes.
The status comes. I can't be driving this small car.
Yes.
I need to upgrade my car.
I cannot take my kids to a particular school.
I need to take, this house is too small. I need to get a bigger house. Wow. So that's where it becomes all of the separation. And it's very hard because the expectation is both internal and you're getting the feedback externally. Because people look at you, with a scared eye like, oh, she's got this title and how come she's driving this car?
Exactly. Oh,
yes. Or people say to you, okay, so when are you getting a new car?
Wow. Oh no.
Or people start asking, where do you live? Where do you live? Then you're kind of thinking, Okay.
Yes, yes. And then it takes me to when we were at school, after holidays, school holidays, and then school, those trips.
Yes.
Where were you?
Yes.
during
Where did you
school?
go for?
Exactly. Where
Yeah.
did you
Where
go
did you
for
go on
holidays?
holiday? Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Because remember as well, you are surrounded by all of these people, and you have conversations. People say, "Oh no, I'm going to Dubai. Oh, we're going overseas. We're doing this," and you're kind of thinking, "Oh my goodness, is there something that I'm not doing well?" And I think the question then really becomes the choice that you have to make
Yes.
of what is really important.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
also comes back to the issue that we're talking about, is that if you have coaching and you have an ecosystem that supports you, it keeps the balance.
I love that.
Yeah, it keeps the balance. It asks the people around you are going to give you feedback. They're going to ask questions. Then it allows you to really pause.
Yes, I think that one is very important, and I remain hopeful that as we climb in terms of what is happening in the workplace, whether the levels that we consider really coaching, because now it goes to say, especially for you now, Pumelela, how did that influence your identity, especially outside of work? Because now we're talking that this is how you behave sometimes, because it talks to issues of behavior, that this is what is expected of you at the workplace, in as much what is expected of you when you are outside. So does it do anything in terms of identity now?
You become you could become very lost. You would lose the identity,
Yes.
unless you, like I said, you've got the ecosystem that allows
very
you
important.
to do that. Because then if you to stop yourself from losing the identity is about having to answer some serious questions, both internally and asking for people to check.
Yes. To check.
Yeah,
That's very
to
important,
check.
because you need to pause as a person and
to
take stock. Yes.
Because in many instances you don't have the time.
Yes.
You're so caught up in this, you don't have the time to check, or you don't even allow people to check, because you also don't look at it as, you think, this is due to me. This is due to me. So this is natural. This is what it is. This is, there's nothing wrong with this. So yeah, you don't need to take a pause, but taking a pause is not always. It's not always easy.
Yes,
it's not always
it's
doing.
not.
Or we don't actually give it the
opportunity.
opportunity. Yeah, to
True.
check. Yeah.
True. Oh, Ngosiam. And then I think this will take us to the retirement and identity. Because more than anything, I'm sitting here and knowing very well that Pumelela has worked all of your life, Pumelela. You started at a very young age. And then you've been known as this HR guru, the leader in different spheres of employment. And then now I'm sitting here and then I'm thinking, what happens when the title is no longer there or is taken away and is no longer relevant?
And you know what? That's a very good question, in the sense that the title is, you no longer, you won't always have the title. And in many instances, yes, retirement is, in my instance, is that the title is no longer there.
Yes.
But the reality is that it's not always just about retirement.
Retirement, yes.
Life happens. Health issues happen that you no longer have the title. Organizations change. That this is what you were before, and now we've done away, we've restructured.
Exactly.
The title
become redundant, is no longer there.
You've now become redundant. So the title no longer, no longer exists. Or sometimes you just make the choice of, I really am exhausted. I don't want to be the title. It's not about health. It's not about the organization changing. It's about you saying, I don't think I can do this anymore. Wow. I am done.
You're done. You've done your best.
You've done your best.
You've done your best.
But you also have not thought about, okay, what happens when I'm done? But all you know is that I am done.
Yes.
So that's when now the reality starts coming. Is that the title is no longer there. And I think coming back to what you were saying, for me, retirement was the title. The title was gone. Yeah, you knew
Just
that
like that.
Yes, you knew that the title
Was going to come to an end.
The title was going to come to an end. So then the reality, then the anxiety starts about, how do I then who I am.
Yeah.
So that was for me. It happens when you're a parent and you're no longer required to be a parent anymore. Whoever you were parenting has flown the nest. They're no longer there. People are living their own lives. And now you're kind of thinking, and now who am I?
It goes back to the purpose.
Yes. Yeah. Now you really have to start finding what is my purpose.
Yes. Yeah. I know that you just retired, Pumelela, and congratulations. I wish
Not sure
you go where.
I actually find it very strange that people say congratulations.
Congratulations.
Wait your turn comes.
So when the retirement came, was it difficult to separate yourself from the title? We're talking about, I think it was how many months ago? Is it a year?
Yeah, over a year.
Over a year, yes, over a year, yes, yeah.
I think it was. Remember, I said you knew it was coming.
Yes.
You've done the preparation. You've done, you've done the sums. You've done all of that.
Yes.
But then the reality hits, and then you're now having to say, okay, now it's no longer there. And I remember for the first couple of months, you actually start dreaming about meetings.
Hearing those little tones.
Yes, you start dreaming about the meetings.
Yes,
You start seeing that until it all gradually goes away, and then you really now had to start really thinking about the plans you had made in preparation for the next season.
For the next season. Yes, because it's the next season.
It is a next season. Yes. So now you start thinking about, okay, now I had thought about it, now it has to be concrete. And I think in many instances, my advice is always about, don't think about then, start thinking about it way before.
Way before.
Especially if it's retirement is not a choice, it happens because it has to happen.
It has to happen.
But when you're making the choice of the child no longer be there, then you need to make sure that you have prepared.
Yes.
When it happens all of a sudden, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to go with the flow because really, life happens.
Yes. I love the fact that you have really, in terms of psyche, you've really prepared yourself. Now I'm sitting here thinking, here is an employee that falls within the vulnerable space. We used to call them vulnerable workers in those areas. And then the person is like, but nobody's preparing me. And I don't have all the knowledge. Whose responsibility is it to empower those are near retirement, near exit?
You know what? Organizations do the preparation.
Lovely.
They will call the financial advisor of this is how you look. You need to look at finance. Yes. But I think what needs to happen long before people retire is for that kind of service to be available long before, so that people start planning way before, like 3 years. Because I got the letter. I got the letter 6 months before the time. But I think because of us...
Is it enough time?
It's not enough. But because I was in the environment and I was a professional, I knew it was coming. So I knew that I had to prepare. And I think almost everyone knows that it's going to come. It doesn't matter what kind of job you know, because you know that it's going to end. So the preparation needs to come, and we need to start to speak the language of the person that is going to have a role change or the title gets taken away. Even if you're a business owner, when you think, I'm only going to do this until I'm 45.
45 years.
You need to start the preparation because you're not necessarily going to lead your business. You might be handing it over to someone, but then it becomes very wobbly because you're thinking, but this is my business. I've owned it. I've created the brand. Now I have to give it to someone else. How prepared I am. That's why in many instances you find people that are over 80 still going to the office because, this has been my life. And I'm not sure, I haven't done the research, is that how many people have lived many years after exiting the
Exiting the
workplace
workplace.
because there's now no longer a purpose. So that preparation needs to come.
Yeah.
As a community leader, we're no longer a community leader, or another leader
I'm telling you, takes
takes
over.
takes your place.
Yes,
Then you don't
yes.
want to become that grumpy leader because you
Yes.
no longer have the title.
Wow,
So it is a preparation that we need to do,
Yeah.
and I think the introspection that we need to have in preparation for role change, or when the title no longer is no longer there, is what is the conversation that we need to have.
Yes.
That's why it's important to have the ecosystem.
The ecosystem.
In the support
Yes.
system.
I love the fact I'm sitting here, Pumelela, and I'm nodding, and then I'm like, checking the informal economy. I understand the formal economy, the employer is able to provide all of these, whether financial, whatever, awareness and everything. What happens to those that are really occupying the informal sector? I've been going to my stand and selling whatever for 20 years, and I've managed to produce quality in terms of my kids are now educated, but I still keep on going back. Who's preparing me as that person that is really in the informal sector? Because ngihleli standini, I'm selling my apples, I'm making fat cooks for everyone in the morning that you are passing the bus station, whatever, I'm sitting at the train station, but I'm thinking about those vulnerable workers, I'm thinking about those that are in the informal sector, are business owners, but in the informal sector. I wonder who's taking care of them. It's a bit that I've never made the research as well in terms of the small business department. What is it that they are offering to those SMMEs and the likes? Is what came to my mind as we were speaking about this.
I think we do have the responsibility
Yes.
to educate.
Educate and awareness is very important.
To educate and
Yes.
create awareness, because it's
yeah.
you are so right. Because no one has that conversation. But because it's a reality, there comes a time where you can't go and sell vegetables because physically you're old.
Yes.
You physically cannot because of health, or you're just exhausted.
Yes.
So you lose a part of who you are. And in some instances, you lose the respect that you used to have. So we do have the responsibility of doing that.
so.
And I think part of what I do in a very small way is that my passion is about development, and my passion is about development of young people.
Young people. Okay.
Yes. So I think that is my part of it. But it doesn't stop me from saying, you know what, I live in a community. So why am I not doing more?
Exactly.
And I think in many organizations, people do have programs that look after SMMEs and all the different
categories.
So those are the conversations that as part of their development, and BBBE, never mind BBBE talking about that, we're not going there, is also have that discussion, is that what happens when you're no longer part of this. So there are various channels that we could be using to educate and create, to create a sense of well-being and sense of fulfillment
and how to live beyond.
How to live beyond.
Yes, how to live beyond this more than anything. And then it comes to you. Who are you now beyond that title? I know that it's been 12 months.
Yes. I think for me, one of the things that I'm having to deal with is the fact that people keep asking, so now what are you doing?
Yes.
And sometimes I find that very irritating, because it is, people look at you and say, but you're so young. What are you doing? And depending on how I feel, I sometimes say, I'm actually doing nothing. But I think you do need to take time to take stock.
Yes.
Because to get yourself out of the mode of the title, once the conversations of, like I said, you still dream about the meetings that you need to have, and once all of that has died down, and you start exploring, of who you are, then you really started to discover that I am a parent, I am part of the community, I am more than what the title is. There's a lot more that I can do, but you need to have conversations with different people.
Lovely.
And I think what we had said earlier about starting to having that support system is very important, because it becomes very difficult to start creating relationships that you left behind because you thought you didn't need them. Now that you're retiring, you start saying, hey, my friend, can we continue? And the person is going, oh, now that we have time, now you are thinking about me. So that support system is very important, that you don't let go of.
That's very
Because
true.
those are the people you're going to come back to when the title is no longer there. Of course, some of them you would have outgrown, but the support system and the ecosystem that you surround yourself with, it makes it easier for you to really discover who you are. But the being out of the title, you need to start exploring. What else is there? And I think it comes back to that, what is my purpose?
What is my I was going to talk about your identity and purpose.
What is my purpose? What am I really here for? And I think part of that coaching, in many instances, if you started earlier, you start really recognizing what your purpose is. So that when your title is no longer there, then you can really start living the purpose. And sometimes you live the purpose while you are in the role. Or when you have the title.
I love that.
So it becomes, it sinks
nicely. It's so easy now. You just continue. It's a matter of continuation.
Then you start exploring.
Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely, lovely. I'm happy that you've got Pumelela with purpose. Yes. I'm so happy. I want us now, as we are about to wrap up Pumelela with our chat, the wisdom for the next generation. Especially if we talk about you when you were younger. If you could speak to your younger self at the beginning of your career, what would you say?
I think I would probably say, be gentle with yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. And manage expectation. Have the right support. And do what you feel is right, not always what is expected of you. When you get into the title, is that it's okay. It's okay to actually have the title. But the issue about the title is that don't allow it to consume you. And the essence of who you are disappear.
Yes, you lose.
They lose. Losing yourself in the title is what we need to be. You need to be aware of. There's nothing wrong in aspiring to become the executive, the own. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about creating the balance. And also about saying that there's always a comeback. If you've done all of this and you ran the race and you're kind of thinking, oh wow, be okay. It's okay. There's not always the right time to do the right thing. And like I said, life happens.
Life happens.
Life happens. And sometimes it hits you in your face like it happens. So just be gentle on yourself.
I love the fact you are going back now. This is what you are telling yourself, your younger self. And I feel that it's still relevant to the next generation.
You don't know what you don't
relevant.
know.
Yes.
You don't know what you don't know. So the feelings of guilt, the feelings of I didn't do enough, the feelings of I didn't achieve enough, the feelings of all of those are natural part of who you are. But they cannot be all-consuming.
All-consuming, yes. And then this takes me to a point, Pumelela, that I think you've mentioned it when you were really occupying a seat at the table, that it is in the way you show up. The spaces you hold, the lives you impact, Pumelela, and the integrity you carry when no one is watching.
Absolutely.
I think you have lived that.
Yeah. And I think, remember what we had said earlier on is that you look at it and you're kind of going, do I really deserve the seat? Do I, is this where I am? And what is this about? And it sometimes, like I said, it becomes very difficult because the integrity is the essence of who you are.
Truly.
In many instances, you're going to get checked on that. You're going to get checked on that, but it's always being able to say, This is, this is,
Yes. And I love the fact that I think what I'm learning as well, Pum Pum, is that a title may be given because you are given a title, but becoming, it's a journey.
Becoming the title.
Yes, becoming the title.
Yeah,
It is a
the
journey.
becoming the title,
Yes.
and not allowing the title to overpower
Yes.
is a journey.
Yes, and the fact that the positions we occupy, Pumelela, are not just titles, they are journeys we grow into because you grow into the role.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. And then I guess it takes us, Pumelela. I'm not going to do any closing. This is your conversation. But thank you so much for sharing your journey and reminding us that what it truly means to become the title.
Thank you very much for agreeing and making this conversation so much easier for me. And I think whoever is watching or listening to it will get something out of it, because all of us have to navigate through different, roads, and we fall, we wobble, but we always stand up. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone has enjoyed the session.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Pum Pum.